Good morning. I am here to bring you along on one of my author talks, my promotional events, book signing sort of things. So when I do an author talk, usually I get invited by a social group or a small business or a school. It could be anything like that. To talk about what it's like being an independent author, what's involved, my experiences, and kind of give whoever's listening an overview really of the industry. So today I am out and about in Otley, and I will be talking to a very nice group of ladies about what I do and why I do it. So my talks tend to open with a who am I? Why am I here? What am I going to be boring you with today? And that tends to go from sort of 2010 to, that's when I started, which you might have noticed I did like my 16-year anniversary of being a published writer. So yeah, start in 2010, then talk about how I started Curious Cat Books, my launch at Waterstones, all of that kind of thing. My first ever W.H. Smith tour, which was amazing because I was with my dad doing that. He was my co-author for Bluetooth in the World Wide Web. So I talk a little bit about that. And then once I've gone through how I got started and interested in this hobby, this topic, this little business, then I go on and I talk about the industry itself. So what's involved in self-publishing? Why self-publish? What's it all about? What does it require? What kind of skills do you need to learn? Do you need any qualifications? All that kind of thing. Today, I'm going to try and film a few clips. I have to be mindful, obviously, of the people that are there. They might not want to be in the video, so I will try and film as much as I can, and then I will edit out and just place a few little snapshots or things, a little bit maybe of me talking if I can get the right angle, a little bit of my setup so you can see sort of how I just lay the books out. I do that differently at talks than I do at workshops and other big events because space is limited, and I don't take everything that I would take to like a craft fair, but I do try and take a good range of books with me. So for example, I might take 1 or 2 copies of a certain title, whereas I might take 10 to 15 copies of another, because I know what sells at these events now. I've been doing it long enough to kind of test the waters, and to know that people don't just buy books for themselves when they're there. If they don't read, it doesn't mean to say they won't purchase. It just means to say they might not buy the fiction. They might buy something that their loved one enjoys or their grandchild enjoys or whatever. So that's why I tend to take a few of the other books, even if they're not my big bestsellers or they're fairly old. You just don't know what people are going to want, and the people that they know, they might be buying a gift. So I keep that in mind as well. I take my banner because, again, people sat at the back, they might like to have a look at sort of my book covers. I have my book covers. I have... Is it 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, or 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom? It's like a bookshelf layout is my banner with my name at the top and a little bit about who I am and my website. So sometimes it's nice to just have that up so that when you're setting up and people are coming in, getting a cup of tea, sitting down, they can Google you, they can go on your website and have a look at who actually is going to be talking to them. And for some, that's a comfort. I know that I sometimes, if I see a stall and they've got like a QR code, I might not want to approach just yet, but I do have a sneaky scan of that QR code and see who that person is, and whether or not it's kind of worth me going over and having a nosy or a chat. So I always think that kind of thing, if you can take one with you, it benefits the people that maybe don't want to approach you straight away. They might just want to kind of sit back and wait, and that's fine. So at the end of the Q&A, I do a little book signing so people can come over and talk to me. They can come and buy a book if they want to. And then I pack up and I get out of the way. I go home. Some of these talks go on for a bit longer after I've gone. Some of them start before I arrive. It just depends on what they want, how long they want me for. So I really think for indie authors, it's good to do this kind of thing. I really enjoy it because I like talking to people. I like meeting people and learning about their books and what they're working on. And a lot of people I meet, they come up to me at the end and they say, do you know, I've had this project in the works now for years and I've just never done anything with it because, well, I never thought it was worth it. And then I get to be the one that says, go for it. I get to be the one that kind of cheerleads them on, tells them how to get started, tells them some of the best free tools to use, so that if they want to try it and not invest a lot of money, they can do that and then make that decision later on as to whether or not they're invested enough to invest with money. So it's kind of nice to be that person that is the cheerleader for them. And I think meeting somebody in a creative job kind of does give you that boost when you're thinking of doing it. I know that when I talked a little in one of my previous videos about maybe doing illustrations, and I've talked to a few people who do that and who have given me tips and who have like gone, yeah, do it, it's so fun, and they've kind of given me the energy behind it to make me think, oh yeah, I do want to do this now actually. You know, instead of putting you down, other creatives build you up as a creator. So I think this kind of event I love doing because there's always some people in the audience that maybe have been writing in the background and just never told anybody, or they write a journal every day and they might want to put that together as like a memoir for people. So that's basically what I do when I go to my talks. I just promote reading, promote creative writing, promote myself, promote the industry. And I always come away with a big smile on my face because I feel like I've done my job. You know, that's what I'm here for. I'm just here to talk about the wonderful world that is books. So I will bring you along for the journey today as much as I can. And we'll see where we end up and what kind of a day we have. And maybe if I've got time, I'll do a little summary at the end. If not, I will let the video speak for itself. So I will catch you soon. Stay tuned. I'm here and I'm early because I'm always early. I am always early, but it was a fairly smooth journey. It was a little bit wacky races at one point. Not me, other people doing scary wacky races driving, but we're here. I've got my stuff in the back and I'm pretty much ready to go. Paid for parking, found a lovely little car park just bang on, like I can see where I need to be, right opposite. I am a bit worried that it's going to maybe rain and I haven't brought a coat, but the good thing is I have a really neat book storage caddy situation going on, and you can't really see from here, but it's actually a purchase that I made on Amazon, and it's, you know, people take like makeup and hairbrushes and things, like if you're in the makeup industry, or you have like a thing that opens and it opens again and it's got layers that click together. You can probably just see that's the top of it there, and the other half is behind me. And it's actually the perfect size. So I put books in the bottom of it, and then next layer on, and then merchandise, next layer, extra books, extra bits and bobs, next layer, stickers, loose change, all that sort. So I have everything in one caddy, and basically what I do is I take it apart, put it in the car, and then get it out of the car, put it back together again. Literally seconds it takes, it's not long at all. And once that's all together, then I can pull it to the venue. It's got wheels and a big handle that pulls up, and it's so easy. So easy. I don't have to lift any heavy boxes. I don't have to like pull my back trying to carry everything. It is literally so easy. So I will try and kind of film myself putting it together if I can get the right angle on my phone, just to show you how super duper easy it actually is. So I have that, and then I have a bag filled with other bits and bobs, that like a shopping bag, like a reusable shopping bag that's got extra bits and bobs in, and then my handbag. Oh, and my banner. So sometimes I have to do 2 trips. It really depends how close I'm parked, and obviously like how heavy everything is. If I've got lots of books with me, I do 2 trips because I'm just not for injuring myself doing this. But today I am literally over the road, so I think I can probably just pull the caddy up, put the bag on the top of it and pull it, and it's on wheels. It's so easy. I'm molting. It's the stress of driving to places I don't know. I don't like. I have to use my sat nav. I don't like it. So yeah, I'm all ready to go. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to meeting some new readers, looking forward to chatting about books and all things publishing, and I'll let you know how it goes. Don't drop on my head.
You've been writing.
It is a very long time. Yeah. It doesn't actually feel that long.
No.
It doesn't feel like 2 minutes since I were in
Started.
high school doing it, yeah, because I actually published my first book in high school, would you believe?
Did you?
Yeah.
That's
So
brilliant.
it was really, but it doesn't feel like, I don't feel like I'm in my 30s. It feels literally like...
Just like that,
yeah.
it's gone.
I've blinked and the time's gone.
Blink and it's gone.
Yeah. I'm basically trying to promote what it's like to be an independent author like me, and the only way to do that is to show people kind of the day-to-day things that I do to get myself out there and to share what the industry is all about. My name's Rachel. I am an independent author. Does anybody know the difference between self-publishing and publishing? Yes, couple of yeses, couple of no's. Okay, cool. We ordered one copy of the book and waited a very long time. We were kind of thinking by this point, we're getting scammed here, this is never going to arrive. And it did eventually, and that was my taste of seeing my name in print for the very first time. This is the only copy that I've got. And that was, or how old were I? Let's have a look. I was 14 at the time. I was 14. And back in 2009, I started learning to self-edit, to format, and my dad, bless him, designed the front cover for me. And we put it together and we basically self-published my first novel. I was 18 at the time. The success was mine. It was something that I'd worked really hard on. I was very proud of it, and yeah, so it gave me a taste of seeing my name on a novel for the very first time. And that obviously was not the end. I kind of got addicted to seeing my name in print the very first time this arrived, and this is the only copy because it's out of print because this one is terrible. When I got the notification, I was actually still in school and I was in a class at the time. I think it was something like sociology or psychology, and my phone that I wasn't supposed to have on me was in my back pocket because I was waiting for the notification to say that it had arrived. And I nudged my friend and said, "It's here, shall we go on our free period?" And I passed my driving test by that point. Why don't we go and get it, and we'll open it together. Waterstones. It's gorgeous inside. And as a teenager growing up, I used to sit in what was Starbucks, it's now their own cafe, on the little balcony looking over with the statues and the big pillars, and I used to think, wouldn't it be amazing if my books were in here on the shelf? And I used to sit with my best friend and we'd look and figure out where I would be based on my surname and what I was writing, and I'll be there next to Stephen King, I'll be like besties with Stephen King. And we talk about that a lot. And I think you should work with it. And I'm at the side, like bright red face, and hi, that's me. And I hadn't thought that far. I actually had no idea. Have I gone off again? This is not my friend today. Hello, right, we're back. Let's give it a try. So I went straight to my dad's, obviously, and said to my dad, "You'll never get sport." Like, didn't even get through the door, and I'm like, he said yes. You'd have thought I'd have won the lottery. So from that point, it took me a few months to sort of put together this plan for this big launch that I was going to do for my company, Kim's Cat Books. That was taken there at Waterstones, and for the first time, I actually look something like my image, because every time I have a headshot taken, about 2 weeks later I get a haircut or change my colour. And my dad, it's always a running joke, my dad says, "Why don't you just wait until you've had your hair done?" Because I like to just keep people guessing. A year old, and this is my how to write a book. I can't be there physically for my authors, but I can be there in spirit. So I did this book for them so that if anybody new wants to try writing a book, there is literally guidance from idea generation all the way through self-editing, how to format it, how to do it all completely free of charge, to get people started and to get people into the industry, just to encourage it. We need more. If you've not done your own kids' book yet, I think this would be amazing. So I go on then, sit down, I'll make you a cup of coffee. And I said, "Go on, pitch it then. What's this amazing, money-making, brilliant idea?" And he said, "Get this. Spiders running the World Wide Web." And I thought, might be onto something there. And one of those characters was my great uncle Fred. And I actually had forgotten to bring the cuddly toy because we had a cuddly toy made in his memory. But my Uncle Fred was in his 80s, I think, at the time, and he lived in Wyke. And my dad had written this character about, it's all insect themed, and he'd written this character as this grumpy, miserable flea. And my dad said to me, go and ask your Uncle Fred if we can do this. And my Uncle Fred, bless his heart, I'm in a church, so you know I have to behave. I love you, Uncle Fred, but you were a miserable git. You was, and he knew he was a miserable git. Nothing was ever right, nothing was ever, you know, you'd go and see him, he'd say, bring us a trifle. He'd love a trifle, have a cup of tea and some trifle. What's this? What's your trifle? Well, it's chocolate, I don't like chocolate trifle. So I sat down with my Uncle Fred and I said, look, I'm not going to mince my words with you, you're miserable. And he went, yeah, I am. I said, well, we've written a miserable character. Are you happy with that? Like, we based it on you, and well, what's he like? So I said, he's a miserable guy, just like you. He bullies people, he's never happy with anything, but he is a super spy in the background. And he went, yeah, all right, that's cool. So I got to go back to my dad and say, we've been given the green light, let's go do it. That he's just a head. Dad, honestly, the head teacher that's just a head, Mrs. Longlegs, the English teacher, which actually is probably one of my favourites. This is my dad's policing humour. The two bullies did it and ran off. Big P, and that's Big P doing his lollipop crossing. Oh no. Oh dear. This is Fleadrick. The flea on the snail. Oh. Then I had an idea. And my ideas, I know the good ideas when they don't leave me alone. So if something comes in my head and I think, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, but not really developed it. If in a few weeks I'm still thinking about it and it's still nipping me, I know it needs to be written, I know it's a good book. So I had this idea, and it was very basic, about a guy who dies and he wakes up on the train to work, and if he's good and he answers some questions right, the train goes uphill, the scenery gets nicer, it's bright, it's lovely. And if he's horrible and he doesn't learn his lessons in life, it goes downhill, it gets really hot and not so nice. And that's literally the idea I had. So I managed to achieve that with my dad's help, because I don't think that story would have become what it was without him. It is very much an adult book, but because it's such a heavy topic, it's only a short novella, and it's called Noah Finn and the Act of Suicide. And I didn't feel like I was done with Noah, so I went on and I did a bit of a sequel, which unfortunately I can tell you absolutely nothing about, because if I do, it gives away the ending of the first book. So I can't tell you anything about that. Shall we have questions? Because I don't want to talk at you. Like, does anybody have any questions about publishing, about my books, about me, the industry? Like, fire away. You get it in book form and you go, right, this is the proof copy. Before it goes to print for the public, we're going to read it from cover to cover and just make sure we've not missed anything. Well, that is a successful talk over and done with. I'm very flushed, I'm very warm, my voice is going, but that way it was amazing. The ladies were really, really welcoming. I had a blast. Got some good feedback, sold some books. So yeah, what an amazing experience overall. I've now got to set my sat nav and actually get home. Bye.